Well, Sunday at about 3 o'clock, a great rugby event happens. It's Ireland in Paris. Now, a great rugby event it is, even though we're not very successful. Amazingly, in the last 40 years, we've won just once in Paris. In the last 60 years, we've won just twice. So why is this a special fixture? Well, it's a special fixture, I think, for every Irish person who goes there, and sadly there won't be as many this year as previous years because of the refixing of the game. But it's in one of Europe's great cities. It's one of Europe's great rugby teams playing invariably at home in front of their own crowd with a wonderful sense of freedom. The astonishing thing, is that our record against France is worse than our record against England, Scotland or Wales. So, on Sunday, the odds are against us winning. But sooner or later, we are going to win. Just as we did when Brian O'Driscoll had that extraordinary performance of 3 tries, someday we're going to win. Will this be it? Well, as you say every 2 years, it's a bit unlikely, and we're invariably proved right. Why are the French so good in Paris? Well, first and foremost, it's not actually about selection, who they pick. It's not about their system, or it's not about their coach. It's about the fact that they play with extraordinary freedom. And our problem as an Irish team is this is an Irish team that isn't playing with freedom, invention, or a sense that they're playing a different kind of game to anybody else. I think we have now become absolutely mired in an incredibly conservative game. We've become mired in a game that forwards make about 2 yards forward and fall over us. It's hard to believe just a mere 12 months ago, at this time of the year, Sean O'Brien was scattering defenders like confetti across the playing fields of Europe as he went on rampaging, bullocking runs with the ball in hand. It seems only 3 or 4 years ago, where Jamie Heaslip was described as the heir apparent, not just to the Irish captaincy, but heir apparent to the mantle of the greatest number 8 in Europe. All that, of course, has gone by the wayside as he now struggles to impose himself on the game. That's the back row for you. If there's one certainty about rugby, it's that the game is decided by the back row and halfbacks. That middle 5 decide how a team does. And there is a worry. Back row failing to function. I think it's fair to say only one of the 3 against Italy performed, and that was Stephen Ferris. And then that scrum half. The scrum half's an interesting position in rugby. He's the umbilical cord that connects the donkeys, as Barry John once famously described them, the forwards with the intellects of rugby, the backs at the back. If you don't have that connection, like any connection, electrical, intellectual or otherwise, if the connection isn't there, it doesn't work. And I don't think we have a connection. Strangely enough, as I speak to you on Friday, in Newcastle tonight, we may well see the kind of scrum half who epitomised that connection. The great Peter Stringer, now plying his trade as a lone player, not lone L-O-N-E, but lone L-O-A-N, at Newcastle. Stringer delivered the ball quickly, which gave the fly half and the centres room to move. Murray is indecisive, slow, and that slows down the entire back line. So, if we are to win in France, we're going to have to play a game of movement, of speed, and invention. The question is, to you don't have to be a coach. All you have to do is look at your video recorder. Where's the invention coming from? Where's the speed coming from? Where's the power coming from? And that's the real worry. This Irish team just doesn't seem to have the kind of game that can ruffle the French. How will the French lose? Well, the French will lose if the French decide to lose. And sometimes they just do. Few teams in World Rugby can excite so much, and few teams in World Rugby can fail to deliver so often on the awesome talent that invariably exists in their side. When you compare their middle five, and remember I said to you how important that middle five was, think of Tranduk and Para at halfback, the wonderful Bonaire at 6, the extraordinary talented Dusatois at 7, and Aeronautique, the pride of the Basques, possibly the most athletic number 8 the game has seen for 50 years. They must make life very difficult for us. The only way they won't is if somehow the mental connection that happens with French teams in the dressing room doesn't fire and they play below the levels of their extraordinary talent. Is that likely to happen? No. Out further, the bantamweight Earls is facing against the heavyweight Rougerie in the centre. Only in rugby do we think that somebody 3 or 4 stone lighter than the other is able to survive. The great pugilists of old would never have thought that was a fair match. So I think we're going to struggle. I think we're going to struggle to make progress going forward. We're going to struggle to get really quick ball at the breakdown that would release backs like Carney and Bowe and others. Yeah, am I pessimistic? I am. No, I'm not. I'm not pessimistic. It is not my nature. Am I trying to be logical? Yes. Am I trying to be factual? Yes. Nobody more than me would be thrilled if tomorrow was one of those very rare days that we win in Paris. But if you happen to be going to Paris, then the great thing is, even when you lose, there's still the food, the wine, the Champs-Élysées, and the lights on the Arc de Triomphe behind you as you walk your loved one down the street hand in hand. Makes up for all the losses. Hope we do it, but we'll talk more on the video blog on Monday.